The Trump administration's seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela is one of the most dramatic twists yet in a military pressure campaign against Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. The boarding of a foreign ship is an unusual step and expands a U.S. operation already highlighted by strikes against more than 20 boats in the Caribbean and Pacific Ocean that the administration claims carried drug traffickers. Early reports suggest the swoop by U.S. Coast Guard personnel, with the backing of the Navy and law enforcement agencies, poses fewer legal and constitutional concerns than the campaign against the boats and Trump's imminent threats of military action on Venezuelan soil. The vessel, the skipper, was seized in international waters and was carrying Venezuelan crude, a senior U.S. official said. A federal judge had previously issued a warrant for its seizure because of alleged links to Iran-backed terror groups. Still, Trump's relish in announcing the takeover of the ship and Attorney General Pam Bondi's release of a video showing U.S. personnel rappelling onto its decks from a helicopter underscore the political significance of the moment. While the tanker might not have been directly related to the current showdown between Trump and Maduro, its interdiction will be seen in the context of a massive U.S. naval buildup in the Caribbean, which is part of an apparent attempt to force Maduro out of power or to convince his subordinates to oust him. Millions of Venezuelans would welcome Maduro's departure after grim years under an authoritarian regime that has impoverished the country, imposed repression, and forced millions of people to flee poverty and persecution. Trump has meanwhile repeatedly warned that strikes against what he says are drug trafficking sites on land could start soon. But in an interview with Politico this week, he declined to discuss military strategy and said opaquely that he wanted the Venezuelan people treated well and to be respected. The capture of the tanker is certain to be seen throughout the region as an implicit warning to other tanker captains of the risks in loading up in Venezuela and operating around its waters, as well as a blow to the shadow fleet of tankers that traffic sanctioned oil for nations like Iran. Venezuela has some of the world's biggest reserves of crude oil, and its illicit sales are a key source of income for its regime. The first and second Trump administrations and the Biden administration maintained multiple layers of sanctions against the Maduro regime for its suppression of democracy, including against the state-owned oil and natural gas company, PDVSA. Beth Sanner, a former senior U.S. intelligence official, told the media that the seizure of a Venezuelan oil tankers was absolutely normal as part of an attempt to prevent the regime transporting sanctioned oil. In the past, everybody has wanted to pick up these kinds of tankers, but we haven't had the assets in the region to do it, Sanner said. But history shows that even in extreme circumstances, dictatorial regimes constructed over decades are often more durable than outsiders believe. The Venezuelan government has been compared to a many-layered criminal operation, with key members having huge financial stakes in perpetuating their own power. And while many outsiders hope that Trump's pressure will lead to the rise of the country's rightful democratic rulers, nothing is certain. But the seizing of the tanker cranked the pressure on Maduro up yet another notch, and it led Trump further down what is beginning to look like an inexorable path to a military intervention. Back to Ukraine with another great story. Russian soldiers who fall out with their commanders due to personality clashes, disagreements, or a refusal to pay bribes are routinely sent to their deaths in stormtrooper squads. Few survive for long. The following account vividly describes the life of a stormtrooper. Occupant's Life, written by a frontline Russian soldier, tells the story, "Before a soulless bot deletes me from the Telegram universe, before the last spark of life in local mobile networks fades, before my phone buried under a birch tree is flooded to death, I'll tell you about the amusing adventures of a fellow soldier with whom I developed a close friendship. I won't go into detail about the plot. There's no need. It's quite standard. The man had some rather unfortunate family circumstances, and his command, as usual, showed understanding and concern, resulting in him getting screwed. An investigation began to show some interest in our shitty commanders, with the vague prospect of a collective dressing down. The commanders were pretty scared. He might spit out something illegal, and took immediate action. Thanks to their prayers, my friend is now a meat stormtrooper, splitting into small groups and advancing sequentially under fire cover. The shooting range wank has little in common with real combat. Deafening, disorienting gunfire and explosions from all sides. The howl of kamikazes, the whistle of bullets, and the buzz of shrapnel overhead. Who's shooting? From where? Why? And why the fuck? "The Yukis are over there," said the commander, setting the combat mission. "And where are they? Where are they shooting from? How do you suppress something you can't see? What next? Crawl, shoot, run, or just lie there?" Nothing works. Bullets ahead, kamikazes above, sadists and prison behind. None of the group has assault experience. Assault troops in meat-based assaults rarely survive their first battle. Only one is under 50. It's time to prepare for the ground. This hospitable soil has long been ready to accept new symbionts. The ravaged black wasteland with charred tree trunks is littered with bodies, in some places several layers deep. Some have already given the planet everything they could and turned into mummies dried out by the southern sun. Some are quite fresh, still decomposing and marking the occupied territory with the corporate scent of the Russian army. They are doomed to carry out their combat mission posthumously. Their duty to the motherland is indefinite. You had to read the fine print. They shield the next ones from bullets and camouflage them from drones. They ensure the steady movement of the Ministry of Defense's great conveyor belt of death. The bullet entered under the shoulder blade, split, and exited through the back. At that point, the question of what to do lost its relevance forever. A growing pool of blood on the ground, life flowing out, banal but true. The time had come to die. A normal death, quick and without much suffering, is a rare stroke of luck. It would be nice to end up somewhere else, but tomorrow is my birthday. Funny. What's better, to become a mummy or to decay? The dying brain, cut off from external receptors, will create the illusion of a tunnel. Maybe I'll even get to visit paradise one last time. Our beloved president can't be brazenly lying. Time passes, but there is no tunnel, no promised paradise. Meanwhile, things are getting shitty. Looks like we'll have to suffer first, dying endlessly, choking and writhing in a pool of blood. Fear begins to suffocate me again. There's painkiller in the first aid kit. I need to get high. How can I do that with my unruly, trembling hands? It won't squeeze out. Fuck! What do I turn? What the fuck? I find a familiar syringe. I can use it to suck out the contents of the syringe tube. Things are going well. Now for the hemostatic. Now turn on your side, drain the blood through the hole. If the second lung fills up, it will be really bad. I couldn't die easily. What now? How to get out? As long as you lie motionless in a pile of bodies, you can pass for fertilizer. Or you can choose not to. Little by little, I crawled under a black snag. It was useless, but it was quieter. It was shelter, after all. Wait for darkness and try to crawl away? According to my friend, the Ukrainians weren't really holding their positions. They'd run away as soon as things got tough. They're careful with their personnel. And when our guys take up their positions, they fire at known coordinates with everything they have. That's what happened that time. Those still alive occupied the now empty trenches. While he was playing dead under the snag, the party started. If he didn't get the hell out right now, there wouldn't be a second chance. Ignoring the kamikazes, he crawled to a frontline post. Along the way, he caught more shrapnel in his abdominal cavity, without realizing when. He drained the blood from his lung and received first aid. And then something incredible happened. He was given the go-ahead to be evacuated to the rear. Almost everyone who ends up on the front stays forever. That's the whole point of these units. It's the end of the line, but not this time. Somehow he earned his ticket back to the world of the living. He had to crawl 10 kilometers through the front line shit to the evacuation point. hiding from drones, watching his step. He didn't give a fuck about any of that. He had enough strength just to walk. Neither drones nor mines touched him. He made it to the transport. And that's when things got really bad for him. He thought he was going to die in that damn UAZ. I know that feeling. I once rode in a UAZ from combat and nearly died, even though I was perfectly healthy. They refused to operate on him in Donetsk. His liver was like a sieve. He was lucky. He had nothing to eat or drink, so his intestines were empty. They sent him to St. Petersburg, where medicine still existed. And yet Russians don't really like participants in the war. That's not my opinion, it's his. In the hospital, medical workers started demanding payment for their services. He got what he deserved, he shouldn't have gone there, and so on. I don't know why, maybe it's standard procedure, like a greeting. I'm just repeating his words. He started to justify himself, saying that he was a mobilized Donetsk man, thrown into the Ural trucks. But the locals don't seem to be very interested in such nuances. Despite reasonable concerns, the operation, as far as a non-specialist can judge, was successful. He's alive, nothing was sewn onto his forehead, it'll be fine. He lay there until the drains were removed, and as soon as he was able to pee without a tube, they sent him back to his unit.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.